Hey Omnibus collectors, it's Riley, and it's been a little while since I made a video, but I have very good reason for that. So in my last haul video slash collection update video, my wife and I kind of mentioned that we were looking for houses, and if you've been following me on Facebook and on my Facebook group and stuff, you know that we got one, and we moved in, and I'm actually starting this video in the hallway of our new home, my first home that we own, so no more hopping around apartment to apartment every year like we have been for the past few years. This is it. This is my final home for a while, and we're super excited. But for me personally, one of the most exciting things, of course, is that I have a room for my comic collection, which is great. I don't have to share with the living room, I don't have to have my books all over the place, I don't have to annoy my wife with all that any longer. I took a little break from making videos because I kind of wanted to get this set up as nicely as I could, and I was waiting for a couple of things. I thought I might get a new shelf, but I didn't, so without further ado, I figured today was as good a day as any to make a video because I have a day off from work. So let's check out my Sanctum Sanctorum, which my wife hates me calling it because she says it sounds too much like Scrotum Sancrectum, I guess is what she said it was. But anyway, let's take a look at my library. So, just a quick glance around here. It's not 100% put together like I was saying. There's some stuff I'd like to put up on the walls, some hanging shelves or floating shelves I'd like to put up in certain places. I don't know. There's some stuff I'd like to do. But this is it. This is the comic book room. This is my library. This is where I shall be spending a lot of my time and filming videos and everything for the next, I don't know how long. Anyway, let's get started. Next to the door, right over here at my Scott Pilgrim poster, my movie poster signed by director Edgar Wright as well as Brandon Routh. Move over to my first shelf. At the top of the shelf is a Woody, which is actually my wife's, but I wanted to display it because otherwise she was going to just throw it in the closet. Space Jam Michael Jordan, Sandman, Venom, a bunch of Pokeballs. It's an interesting crew of protectors for my library, I guess. Top shelf here is a bunch of manga, larger volumes of manga. I've got the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, the 6 volumes of Akira, Uzumaki, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 and most of Part 2, and then Evangelion, the 5th volume of which recently came out. Super excited because there was a huge gap between when the 4th and 5th one came out, so now it's finally collected completely across these large volumes, and the 3 volumes of the Jiro Kawada Bat manga. Moving down the rest of this shelf, by the way, this white shelf, the reason that it doesn't match with the rest of my library is because I did buy this shelf at like a Salvation Army for 20 bucks back when I had zero money when we first got married, but I needed a shelf to put my stuff on. And I still have it because it stands up. It does the job pretty well. It stood the test of time for the past couple of years. Eventually I'll replace it, but for now it does what it needs to do. Anyway, getting into it, the top shelf here is mostly Dark Horse Library Edition, starting with Buffy seasons 8 and 9, as well as Angel and Faith. Then I go into the Goon. Then a couple of the next few, this is all Rick Remender stuff, but since the Image books were made to be the same size, more or less, as the Dark Horse Library Editions, I decided to put them together. So Black Science and Crawl Space along with Fear Agent, and then I have some Frank Miller stuff. I've got Sin City, Big Guy and Rusty, and Hard Boiled. On the next shelf, I've got a couple of non-Dark Horse books just because, you know, they fit here. I need somewhere to put them. And that's Fifth Beatle and Lost Girls, and then I've got all 6 of the library editions for Hellboy. There should be a 7th one in the future because I know that Hellboy in Hell just concluded. BPRD Plague of Frogs 1 through 4, BPRD 46 to 48, as well as the Hellboy Weird Tales. And then I've got some more Dark Horse stuff, the Mind Management Complete Series in hardcover, Martha Washington, the 2 volumes of Umbrella Academy, Beasts of Burden, and Eltingville Club. On my next shelf, I have a few oversized hardcovers from other publishers, including Godzilla Awakening, Lock and Key, Master Edition 1 and 2, TMNT 1 and 2, and then it goes into my Image books, Butcher Baker, Chew, East of West, Fatale, Manhattan Projects, Nailbiter, Peter Panzerfaust, Saga, Scene of the Crime, Big Hard Sex Criminals, Wicked and Divine, and then I get into the regular sized hardcovers as well as King City, which is an oversized paperback. I got the Paul Pope One Trick Ripoff and Deep Cuts, Severed, and Southern Bastards, and then some paperbacks from Image. Changed, Four Eyes, I Kill Giants, Invincible, Luther Strode, Mara, Midnight Nation, Spawn, Wanted, Wild Children, and Walking Dead. That's just the second compendium. I do have the first one, but it's being borrowed by someone, and I never grabbed the third one, but I am caught up with the series. I read it as it comes out. Then I've got some other publisher material through the rest of here. You know, the Amory Wars books, Underwater Welder, some other paperbacks there. Bone, Essex County, Black Hole, Blankets, Scott Pilgrim hardcovers, Seconds, Asterius Polyp, and Zenith. So obviously I kind of ran out of room because I had to put Blankets and Goodbye Chunky Rice up there. I also have a copy of Habibi that is also with a friend. I'll probably wind up buying another copy of that though because it's been a while since I've seen that guy. Anyway, moving on. Let's move over to this side. You can see I have a bunch of stuff that, you know, pictures and things that I'd like to put up in places, and there's a wastebasket filled with action figures and like amiibos that I just haven't put on display yet, and then a pile of junk there that I'm going to do something with eventually. And then this is the start of my Marvel stuff. On this shelf I've got a candle, bow ties and bourbon flavor there. It basically just smells like a nice cologne, so if any smell I wanted to have in here, it was either going to be that or like aged leather, but I couldn't find a candle that smelled like aged leather. Got my Boba Fett helmet. There's a few books that I just haven't put away or that I was recently reading. And then going down, I've got my Star Wars shelf with the 3 Marvel Years Omnibus editions, and then all of the Epic collections that have come out, as well as a William Shakespeare's Star Wars and some figures and a Vader bust. On the next shelf, I've got some other Marvel stuff. I've got my Ultimate Marvel stuff, Ultimate Spider-Man, and then a couple of the oversized hardcovers, as well as the first OHC to Ultimate Fantastic Four, and the rest of my Ultimate stuff there. And then it goes into Icon with Kick-Ass and Incognito, and then Powers, and I got the 12, and my Turtle Van with the entire DVDs of TMNT, as well as my Beatles Love Glove from the Yellow Submarine hiding there in the corner. On the bottom, I just got some other stuff, stuffed Katamari, and then I have like my action figures, Link, and my Green Ranger that haven't been displayed yet. Box set to Breaking Bad on Blu-ray. This has the Elder Wand in it. This is actually also Megan's. And then I've got her Time Turner here as well. Essentially anything that was geeky that she has, I was like, don't put it in the attic, I'll put it in my room. Moving on, got my Wolverine and Spider-Man up here. Moving up to the top shelf, this is where alphabetically I've started my Marvel Omnibus stuff and just my Marvel collection in general. Next to my Groot collection, got Alias, Annihilation, Annihilation Conquest. I know those are backwards, I just haven't fixed them, but I know that they're backwards. West Coast Avengers, Busaic Avengers, New Avengers, Dark Avengers, Captain America, Daredevil, Deadpool, a Fantastic Four shelf, Ghost Rider, Guardians, Hawkeye, Howard the Duck, Infinity Gauntlet, Iron Man, Man-Thing, Marvel Zombies, Punisher, Secret Wars, Secret Warriors, Shang-Chi, S.H.I.E.L.D., Spider-Man, Superior Foes of Spider-Man, Squadron Supreme, Mighty Thor, Thor, Werewolf by Night, and then with Wolverine, this is where I get into basically my X-Men collection, oversized hardcover. I've got Wolverine by Millar and Jason Aaron, Wolverine the X-Men by Jason Aaron, X-Force, X-Statics, Uncanny X-Force, Uncanny Avengers, and I put these, this is all X-Force, and then this continues from there, so that's why I put it there, and then Axis continues from there, and then Rage of Ultron was also Rick Remender, kind of continuing from there, so that's why I have a couple of Avengers things mixed in with the X-Men, X-Force stuff. And then I get into my X-Men proper. I still don't have Volume 1 of the Silver Age X-Men, but I do have Volume 2 here, 1 through 3 of the Claremont Omnis, and then a bunch of the oversized hardcovers by Claremont, as Guardian Wars, Mutant Massacre, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno Prologue, Inferno, and then the Claremont and Lee Omnis, Days of Future Past OHC, Extinction Agenda, Bishop's Crossing, Executioner's Song, Fatal Attraction, Phalanx Covenant, Age of Apocalypse Companion, and the main event on this side. Onslaught, Operation Zero Tolerance, New X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, and then I get into a bunch of the more recent oversized hardcovers, Supernovas. The reason why Giant Size is here instead of towards the beginning is because that has the Brubaker story that came before Rise and Fall. Messiah Complex, Endangered Species, Manifest Destiny, Nation X, Utopia, X-Force by Kyle and Yost, Necrosha, Second Coming, Age of X, Schism, Battle of the Atom, All New X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and that is all of my X-Men oversized stuff. Then my last Omnibus edition would be Young Avengers. And then I get into my other oversized hardcovers, starting with Avengers and New Avengers. Move down to Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Black Vortex, Hulk, a bunch of different Hulk stuff, Infinity, Inhumans, Inhuman, Invincible Iron Man, a bunch of different Punisher stuff, all the Spider-Man stuff, Thor, and then the Thanos original graphic novels, as well as some Marvel Premiere Classic hardcovers. And then I get into my paperbacks. All of these are alphabetical by character. I've got a lot of like epic collections in there which look really nice. My Hulk Visionaries by Peter David. I'm only missing volume 7, so I'm going to have to get that pretty soon. A bunch more Hulk stuff. Red Hulk, Incredible Hercules, Iron Fist, Iron Man, Journey into Mystery, Moon Knight, Runaways, She-Hulk. And then I get into my Spider-Man stuff. I've got a lot of Spider-Man paperbacks here. A little collection of Thunderbolt stuff, and Venom, Warlock, Weird World, and then I have a couple of Marvel events, Secret War and Civil War, and then a bunch of cosmic events and cosmic tie-in books like Infinity Watch, the Infinity Aftermath books, Infinity War, Crusade, Abyss, Marvel Universe The End, Thanos Redemption, and then I start with this, my X-Men hardcovers and paperbacks, with starting with the Marvel Premiere Classics, Weapon X, Not Dead Yet, Origin, Cable and New Mutants, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, X-Men vs. Fantastic Four. Moving down here to the bottom shelf, I've got Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, all of Astonishing X-Men, post Joss Whedon, Excalibur Classic and Visionaries by Alan Davis and Warren Ellis, and then the volumes of the more recent Excalibur series here. I got some Gambit stuff, Generation Hope, Generation X, Magneto, Mystique, New Mutants Classic, New Mutants by Zeb Wells, and then one volume of the Mutants by Abnett and Lanning. Some Wolverine collections there, X-Factor Visionaries, X-Factor, the more recent series. I don't have all new X-Factor in here, but I did read that series, I just haven't collected it just yet. Cable and X-Force, I get into all the recent X-Force stuff, Uncanny X-Force, and then I have the first of the 3 volumes of X-Force by Simon Spurrier. I will eventually get the other ones. And then the main Uncanny and Adjectiveless X-Men series in paperbacks. Got a couple of the Panini Pocket books, The Gift, Ghost, Skinning of Souls, Wedding of Cyclops and Phoenix, Road to Onslaught, Hunt for Professor X, Rogue Nation, Shattering, X-Men vs. Apocalypse, Powerless, Dream's End, Eve of Destruction, X-Corps, which is the Joe Casey run, and then I've got the entire, from Hope through Bright New Morning, as well as Day of the Atom, is all the Chuck Austin stuff, and then after that, from End of History to First Forsaken, is all the Return of Chris Claremont. And then I've got the books by Brubaker, Fraction, and Gillen that have not been in oversized hardcover, and then I go into my X-Men Legacy by Mike Carey, one hardcover, and the rest of them are all paperbacks, and then Legacy by Christos Gage, and Legacy by Cy Spurrier. Then I've got a few of the X-Men by Peter Milligan books here, and then the entire series of Volume 3 of the X-Men, Victor Gischler, Brian Wood, and all that. I don't have Reckless Abandonment up here, but that one was one of the ones on the shelf up there. Most of Extreme X-Men Series 1, and then I have Extreme X-Men Volume 2, Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, Rise of Apocalypse, Phoenix Endsong Warsong, Magneto Testament, some of the House of M books, Decimation Son of M, Silent War, and then I've got The Amazing, Fantastic, Incredible, which is a Stan Lee biography written by Peter David. So that's all of my Marvel stuff. That makes up the majority of my collection. I have more Marvel stuff than I do from other publishers. It's not necessarily that I enjoy Marvel more, it's just that they publish more collected editions that I want, and they have more omnibus editions than DC does. Both DC's omnibus editions and absolutes combined, I'm pretty sure that Marvel has more. So I've collected more of them, and there are more stories that I'm interested in. But I've got a pretty decent size collection of DC stuff as well, though this is split kind of evenly between DC and Vertigo. And I do want to get a different shelf because I don't like the way that that one fits here. It's overlapping with my windowsill, and I'd rather have a tall, skinny Billy shelf from IKEA to go right there. I thought that I would be getting one soon, but I didn't wind up getting it. I'll get it in the near future. Anyway, top of the shelf, I've got some action figures. I think one of my Batman figures fell down on that side. But I got Batman and Joker over here. And then those are just the slipcases for my Absolute Transmet because I didn't have room to put the book with the slipcase down below. And then I've got Wednesday Comics is what they're resting on right there. And then I got some figures here, Swamp Thing, a bunch of Batman and Green Lantern related stuff, the Joker and Batman from Dark Knight Returns. And then some larger books such as some coffee table stuff as well as Absolute Green Arrow by Kevin Smith. And then I get into oversized hardcovers and omnibus editions from DC. I've got Before Watchmen, Watchmen, Just Imagine, DC Universe created by Stan Lee, and Planetary. Those are all the non-DCU books. Don't even say anything about Watchmen regarding that comment. Then I've got my omnibus editions by Jeff Johns, starting with Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, and then JSA and Teen Titans. And then I have my Gotham Central Omni, Orion by Simonson, Wonder Woman by George Perez, Crisis on Infinite Earths begins the oversized hardcovers. And I've got Dial H, Green Arrow, Archer's Quest, Green Arrow by Lemire, JLA Deluxe Editions 1 through 4, Multiversity, New Frontier, Solo, Superman Unchained, Swamp Thing, Batwoman, Elegy, Batman Dark Knight Saga, Batman Noir by Eduardo Risso, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Gothic, Black Glove, and then from there it's all like Grant Morrison stuff in these oversized hardcovers. I've got the Return of Bruce Wayne action figures on this shelf. I've got Heart of Hush, Black Mirror, and all the run by Scott Snyder, as well as the rest of the Batwoman stuff by J.H. Williams III and W. Hayden Blackman. Man Who Laughs, Joker, All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder, Batman Earth 1, Volumes 1 and 2, and then I've got a bunch of random little Batman things, the Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb stuff. And I go into some chronological Batman stories. I've got Tales of Batman by Len Wein, Year One, Death in the Family, Dark Knight, Dark City, Sword of Azrael, and then I go into my Nightfall stuff. Next shelf continues Nightfall, Batman by Doug Munch and Kelly Jones, Contagion, Cataclysm, Road to No Man's Land by Ed Brubaker, Bruce Wayne, Murderer and Fugitive, Hush, Broken City, War Games, Under the Red Hood. And then I've got Gates of Gotham on there, and the Batgirl Robin Year One. So that ends all my Batman stuff. Then I've got some Booster Gold, some Catwoman, Challengers of the Unknown, Flash, Frankenstein, a bunch of classic Green Arrow, and then Green Arrow Year One, Green Lantern Corps, I Vampire, Justice League Dark, Justice League International, the Lex Luthor Man of Steel, OMAC, Plastic Man, Resurrection Man, Secret Six by Gail Simone, Seven Soldiers of Victory, Shazam, all the Starman Omnibus, Ostrander's Suicide Squad, some Superboy, a bunch of Superman stuff, including the Death and Return. I've got the Black Ring, which is the Action Comics by Paul Cornell. I've got all of the stuff that Jeff Johns did, Superman for Tomorrow by Azzarello, Action Comics by Morrison, Birthright, All-Star Superman, of course, Red Sun, and then I've got the entire Azzarello Wonder Woman as well as Wonder Woman Year One. Then I've got Zombie up here, and then I go to the DC events, Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis. I've got Final Crisis and other stuff elsewhere. I just kind of took them off the shelf for a bit. DC Stories of Alan Moore, JLA Avengers by Busiek and Perez, The Authority Volume 1 by Warren Ellis, Desolation Jones, Ronin, and Space Ghost, which are all like non-DCU books published by DC. And then I get into my Vertigo books. Standard size hardcovers and paperbacks. American Vampire volumes 1 through 8. Animal Man volumes 4 through 7. As well as the New 52 series by Jeff Lemire. Dark Knight, Batman Story by Paul Dini and Eduardo Risso. Django Unchained. Ex Machina. Fables. Filth. Constantine Hellblazer. It's a Bird by Steven Seagal and Teddy Christensen. The Losers, Lucifer, Mystery Play, Nobody, Northlanders, Other Side, Preacher, Punk Rock Jesus, Sandman Mystery Theater, Sea Guy, Sebastian O, all of Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, Swamp Thing by Veitch that followed Moore, Swamp Thing Roots, Swamp Thing by Morrison and Millar, Swamp Thing by Brian K. Vaughan. And I've got some other Swamp Thing stuff, as well as the Charles Soule run, Unknown Soldier following that, and then a few Vertigo like one-shot type things here. And I've got the 2 Absolute editions of Transmetropolitan, starting all my deluxe editions and omnibus editions, 100 Bullets, Animal Man, Day Tripper, DMZ, Doom Patrol, Flex Mentallo, House of Secrets, Invisibles, iZombie, Joe the Barbarian, Kid Eternity, Kill Your Boyfriend / V-Monorama, Ocean / Orbiter, Sandman Overture, Sandman Endless Nights, Sleeper Omnibus, Scalped, Sweet Tooth, and Y the Last Man. So that concludes all of my DC and Vertigo stuff over here. You can see I've got my Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the iconic cover, and it is signed up here. I've got a little reading chair. Viewers may recognize this from other videos. This is the chair that used to be in my living room. So I use this in here so I can have a place to relax and read my comics. I've got my Wolverine and my X-Men posters because these are the ones that I used to have in my bedroom, but Megan hated them, so she made me take them down. And now I have them in here. And over here, some more decoration. I've got my Cap Shield, my Havoc poster, signed print, and then I've got a couple of wooden posters I haven't put up yet for Star Wars, the original, and then Revenge of the Jedi. I really wanted that one just because of the fact that it says Revenge of the Jedi, because as a lot of Star Wars fans know, that's the original title of the movie before they turned it to Return of the Jedi. So when I saw that over at like a Ross or something, I knew I had to have it, and I'm going to make room for those, and then eventually I'll get an Empire one to put in the middle. Somewhere in here, probably in the closet, I'll take down the Spider-Man one and put the 3 Star Wars ones across here. But I do want to put floating shelves across here so that I can have my action figures in there. Otherwise the closet is being used as well as to display all my Marvel Select figures and some of my Marvel Legends figures. It's being used for all my manga. And now I know I don't have any shelves, they're all just stacked here, but this is the first time, and those of y'all who have been watching my channel for a while know this. This is the first time that I've been able to really display my entire manga collection in a way that you can actually see all of it. Other times I've had them stacked up in closets where they were like layered in front of each other and you couldn't see anything, but now I finally have everything in a way that you can see every single volume. And I know I can't really grab, like if I want to read Ravemaster, I'm gonna have a struggle to grab one volume and not make the entire wall fall down, but one day I want to put shelving in there so I can actually have these be accessible. For now though, this is just gonna have to do. And I'm more than happy to have this like wall of manga. So just take a quick look behind the selects. These are the ones that are volumes that I'm still currently buying, including One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, and Bleach. And then below that I've got a bunch of other stuff organized alphabetically and by publisher. So at the top I've got Shonen Jump Advanced with Buso Rankin, Death Note, Eyeshield 21, and these are pretty much all completed series. Some of these are not, but most of them are. Gunblaze West, Black Cat, Kawa, Sandland, Dr. Slump, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Now we're into Shonen Jump, regular, not advanced. Hoshin Engi, Knights of the Zodiac, Muyo and Roji, Rurouni Kenshin, Zombie Powder, and then I've got a few volumes of Naruto and One Piece, as well as a couple of Yu Yu Hakusho. Those are titles that eventually I will collect all of, but these are just the volumes that I got like back when they first started being published in the US. I grabbed the first few of them before I started reading it in Shonen Jump magazine every month. I've I've got my paperback editions of Scott Pilgrim. I know they do not belong here, but they fit, and this is the best place that I could fit them. And I've got Gantz, almost complete. I'm just missing about 7 volumes. Hellsing, missing 2 volumes of that one. Trigun and Trigun Maximum. Excel Saga, I'm missing about 5 volumes. Full Metal Alchemist, Opart's Hunter, or 666 Satan, as it was originally titled. 1 Pound Gospel, Ranma 1/2, and then behind my long box that is filled with my few remaining single issues, I've got Furikuri, GTO, Love Hina, Planets, Rave Master, and Cromartie High School in the corner, and then just a bunch of posters and different things that I haven't put up yet over here. So that is my manga wall. And just a quick glance around the library again. This is it. This is what I've got. And I know it's like, I just moved in and it already seems pretty full. I'll be moving around things and selling things to upgrade into other things. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the way it came out. It looks pretty nice in here. It gives me a nice cozy area to relax, read my comics. I can light a candle. It smells real nice in here. I've got a comfy couch. This couch, just fun fact, is as old or older than I am. I inherited it from my parents and it still stands up to this day. There's no damage on this couch. It's beautiful. Okay, so that's my library. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing that. And I also want to show you all one more thing before I let you go. Eventually, when Megan and I have a kid somewhere down the line, that room is going to become their nursery. But I have a long-term project that we're working on, which I'll take you into my backyard, which is kind of messy right now. My long-term project is turning that shed. That shed is over 200 square feet, and it's completely empty in there. I'm gonna make that shed into my man cave. I'm gonna put electricity, air conditioning, a bunch of shelves in there, and that will be my future man cave. It'll be like 3 times the space as I currently have. I'll get a TV in there, so I can play video games as well. But in the meantime, what I've got is beautiful. I love it. I'm so excited about our house. And I'm really excited to be able to show you guys my new library. I hope you all enjoyed this. Stay tuned pretty soon. I'm also gonna do a haul video for the last couple months worth or so of books that I've picked up. And then in the future, I've already got like 2 big packages coming with stuff that I purchased for July, so I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.